We should ask Donald Trump. You talked about black men would be with you. Where's a black man being nominated by you for your cabinet? Has anyone noticed there's no black that has been nominated on his cabinet? That needs to be raised.
Reverend Al Sharpton criticizing President-elect Donald Trump for not nominating an African-American member for any cabinet position, I should say, yet. There are some spots to fill. Now, to be clear, he has picked some diverse candidates to be part of his overall team and also in his cabinet. But again, as of now, there's yet to be a black American picked for a cabinet-level slot. Joining me now, one of Trump's top allies on the Hill, Republican Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida. Congressman, you have been a very vocal and effective surrogate for Trump and for his campaign and, frankly, the Republican Party. What is your response to this criticism?
I think it's criticism where people are upset that they still lost this election. And so if you were going to ask Reverend Al or anybody else in the Democrat Party, they're still licking their wounds about the fact that this did not work out the way that they thought it was going to. That being said, Donald Trump's cabinet is about people who are going to implement his agenda. And he's not done, by the way. You have Susie Wiles, the first woman ever to serve as chief of staff. You have Marco Rubio, a Cuban American who's going to serve as Secretary of State, representing America across the globe when it comes to foreign policy. You have Tulsi Gabbard going to be at DNI. So many others that are coming, and there's still slots to be filled. So I think everybody needs to pump the brakes and just wait and see what happens.
Do you think Democrats are putting form over substance?
Absolutely.
A few moments later.
A former member of the Texas legislature may be heading to Washington. President-elect Donald Trump nominated him to be Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. That's Scott Turner. Represented parts of Collin and Rockwall counties from 2013 to 2017, and he ran the White House Opportunity and Revitalization Council during Mr. Trump's first term as president. Now, the former QB cornerback, he spent nearly a decade in the NFL playing for the Commanders, the Chargers, and the Broncos. He was also part of the pastoral staff at Prestonwood Baptist Church in Plano.
And the million-dollar question is, where are the race hustlers at now? Okay? And there has been a second black male who has been nominated to serve in the Trump administration.
President-elect Donald Trump has tapped Herschel Walker to serve as United States ambassador to the Bahamas. Walker won the Heisman Trophy at the University of Georgia in 1980 and later turned to politics, running unsuccessfully for U.S. Senate against Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock in 2022. He recently finished earning his degree from UGA just last week. In a statement, President-elect Trump says Herschel has spent decades serving as an ambassador to our nation's youth, our men and women in the military, and athletes at home and abroad, writing he will make Georgia and our entire nation proud.
So there we have it. We have now two black men that are nominated by Trump to serve in his cabinet. All they have to do is get confirmed by the Senate, which shouldn't be a problem. Scott Turner is a former NFL player. He now lives in Plano, Texas, which is, I think, north of Dallas and Collin County in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a wealthy suburb to the north. And also, he is an associate pastor at some mega church in his community. So he seems like a pretty accomplished guy. He served in Texas politics at the state level as a state legislator. He was a lawmaker. As we all know, Herschel Walker was a former NFL running back. So these are both two former NFL guys. Herschel Walker, as we know, ran for Senate here in Georgia against Raphael Warnock. He didn't win, but he came kind of close. Wasn't the best candidate, but at the end of the day, man, black people that voted for Donald Trump did not vote for Donald Trump to pick black people to serve in his cabinet or in his administration. We voted for Donald Trump because we felt like Donald Trump had the better policies. We voted for Donald Trump because we wanted a change, right? Now, I've been a conservative for a long time. I haven't voted Democrat for about 14 years. But a lot of black people voted for Trump for the very first time. They voted for Trump as a Republican for the very first time. So thank you to all the black people that voted for Trump. Thank you for everybody that voted for Trump. But the bottom line is the race hustlers, your Al Sharptons of the world, your Joy Reids of the world, your Roland Martins, all these sellout Negroes, all they do is holler about race, 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 race all freaking day. All day. And the black community remains the same. Nothing ever changes. And yes, Trump is going to naturally have more white people in his administration because America is a mostly white country. It makes sense to have a mostly white administration. Both parties are going to have mostly white people serving. But you got Tulsi Gabbard, who's Samoan. You know, she's from Hawaii. Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, they're serving on the government efficiency initiative, whatever you want to call it. And it's other white men like Tom Homan and, you know, Peter Hegseth and all these other guys. They're going to be there. We don't care about what they look like. We care about can they get the job done. And that's the biggest problem that we have in politics from the Democrats, is they so focused on identity politics, right? We shouldn't be worried about what color the person is. And those of us that lean conservative, we never are concerned about race when it comes to who gets selected. We vote based on policy. Policy over party, right? Competency over color. I don't care if you was purple. Can you do the job and can you do it well? Can you make my life easier? Can you make my life better? Can you make my dollar go a little bit further? Can you fix that border, right? Can you provide our country with, you know, safer neighborhoods? What kind of policies are you going to put forth? You see what I'm saying? So I'm just waiting to hear what Al Sharpton and Joy Reid and Roland Martin and all these clowns got to say now that Trump has tapped 2 black men to serve in his administration. Now, Herschel Walker's position, ambassador to the Bahamas, it's really just a symbolic position. It's very inconsequential. It doesn't really, it's not going to have much of an impact on American life at all. But Scott Turner, the guy from Texas, that's going to be the HUD director, that's a pretty consequential position. That's the same position that Ben Carson held, right? Housing and Urban Development. So we'll see how things go. I just wanted to get on here and say the race card has been overplayed. I'm tired of hearing about it. A lot of black people, especially us younger black folks, that's millennials, you know, younger Gen Xers, Gen Z, we tired of hearing about race all the time. Talking about race all the time does nothing. All these race hustlers, these old civil rights people, all these black Democrat sellouts, they've been talking about race for decades, and nothing ever changes. We're the only demographic that's focused on race all the damn time. And if you ain't focused on race, I ain't talking to you. I'm just talking about a lot of black people who vote Democrat. If it wasn't for y'all focusing on race all the time, perhaps we could get somewhere. Shout out to Herschel Walker. Shout out to Scott Turner. Shout out to Trump. Shout out to everybody who serves, who's going to be serving his administration. It's about getting the job done. It's about getting America back right. It's about putting our country first. You see what I'm saying? So I ain't going to ramble on too much more. I just wanted to say, look, they're not going to say anything about it. If they do say something about it, they're just going to complain about them not being qualified or something stupid like that. But now you don't have no more argument about Trump not picking no black people. He said he going to be with black men. I don't even think Trump said anything about he going to be with black men. That's just something Al Sharpton pulled out of his ass. Race hustling. That's all he's about. Race hustling. That's their only meal test. The only way they're going to be able to work. If you take all that racial grievance stuff away, they're going to fall flat on their face. They're not going to have anything. They won't have a leg to stand on because that's all they got. And they keep it up because it works. So any black person under the age of 50, 55, it's time for us to separate ourselves from the low brain power Negroes that's focused on race all the time, that vote blue no matter who, just because the person got a Democrat by their name and they look like us. You got black Democrats all across the country running cities like Baltimore, Atlanta, Memphis, Jackson, Mississippi. I can go on and on and on. Birmingham. And look at the condition of the black communities in those cities. Same thing, different zip code, man. Some of the smaller cities. Macon, Georgia. Montgomery, Alabama. Right? Gary, Indiana. Right? All these smaller and medium-sized and even bigger cities, Chicago. Look at how Brandon Johnson is screwing the black community over in Chicago. He said he's going to ride for the illegal immigrants. He's putting the illegal immigrants over the black people that voted him into power. And thank God a lot of black people are finally getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. But we need more. We need more black people to say enough is enough. We need more black people to say we're tired of all this race hustling. If there's ever a reason to bring up race and it's a legit reason, okay, cool. But 99% of the time, man, the issue ain't even about race. It's really not. So I'm ready to retire people like Al Sharpton. I'm ready to retire people like Joy Reid, Roland Martin, Bakari Sellers, a.k.a. Bakari Sellout. You know what I'm saying? Van Jones, Don Lemon, all them goofballs, all those black Democrat bootlegs, D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, all of them got to go. All the race hustlers got to go because they ain't doing nothing to move the community forward. All they doing is twerking for the Democrat establishment so they can get some butter biscuits. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, subscribe. I'm out.